If you haven't played Clash of Clans or Clash Royale, you've probably heard of them. They're pretty much ubiquitous with mobile gaming in a way that Angry Birds once was. The Clash games have attained and retained a certain level of success that frankly is somewhat astonishing, and the developers of these games, Supercell, seem to continue to grow and grow. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx we ask the question, just how big are the creators of the Clash games? Supercell started in 2010. They came up with a very different structural model that allowed them to have a lot of small teams working on projects that were very passionate about those projects. If you read the biography they have on their website, it talks about this a lot. They're very proud of their organizational model. And to be fair, it has spawned some of the biggest games in existence, especially on the mobile platform, specifically Clash of Clans and Clash Royale. Now they have two other games that have done quite well, Heyday, which is a farming game, and Boom Beach, which is similar to Clash of Clans in a few ways, but not entirely. Supercell started in Finland, which is also where the creators of Angry Birds are from. Rovio is a company that basically had a game that was synonymous with the mobile platform until Clash of Clans came out. Clash of Clans and Clash Royale currently have that crown that Angry Birds used to. And although these companies started in Finland, they have offices everywhere. Specifically, Supercell has 5 offices. The one in Helsinki, Finland, as well as ones in San Francisco, Tokyo, Seoul, and Beijing. They're not a small company, there's 210 people that work there, and they come from 30 different countries. Supercell's philosophy is that of only doing what you're passionate about. They don't like to have teams that grow too large in order to form a bureaucracy or a political sort of this side versus that side affiliation within it, but that doesn't stop the company from being very large. Its success is far-reaching. You pretty much know what their games are, even if you haven't played them, because you've seen someone play them. They're often the subject of workplace talk between people under the age of 40. Groups of employees like to form clans. In an interesting way, Supercell has actually affected the way that people organize friendship, which to be frank is a very, very keen indicator of just how big Supercell is. But let's talk in terms of numbers. Metrics can give you a pretty good idea before we move on to more abstract things, so let's talk how much revenue comes in. As of 2015, their most recently published number set, Supercell brought in about 2.11 billion euros, which translates over to about $2.3 billion. About 845 million euros, that's $917 million, is profit. So let's take Electronic Arts, for instance. Their revenue is $4.3 billion, which is about twice as much as Supercell's. However, their operating income, essentially their profit, is $898 million, which is less. EA, this massive sprawling company with a very large number of subsidiaries, your BioWares, your PopCaps, brings in less money after expenses than Supercell does. That technically makes Supercell a more profitable company. Maybe not bigger, but what they're doing is certainly more efficient. And you should keep that in mind when you're talking about exactly how big Supercell is. Does it really matter if they employ more people, if they make more money? Well, it depends on what you're talking about. If you were to buy Electronic Arts outright, it would cost you around $26 billion. And if you were to buy Supercell, according to recent estimates, it would cost you around $10 billion. More interesting to think about is that Supercell is actually a subsidiary of Tencent at this point. Tencent owns 85% of Supercell. As long as Tencent wants it to be around, it will be around. We've done a video on just how big Tencent is, but it's worth noting that in May 2017, Tencent was reported as worth $309 billion. In other words, Supercell's parent company is worth more than Wells Fargo. What's also a miracle to think about is that most of EA's purchases likely come from actual $60 games. Yes, they do embed microtransactions in a lot of them. Supercell's business model revolves around very small purchases. And to be completely fair, it's just fine not to spend any money in them at all. I've never spent a dime in Clash of Clans or in Clash Royale. Both of these games do feel on some level skill-based, but at the same time, people clearly do spend money on them. I'm probably the outlier, to be completely honest. But the fact that we can have this discussion at all, that somebody is satisfied with the game despite spending no money on it ever, and they make more money after taking out their expenses than Electronic Arts, well, that should strike you as a pretty big accomplishment. It takes 12 $5 purchases to equal one $60 purchase, but nearly all of those those $5 purchases are profit. You're paying salaries, that's it. You're not paying for production or marketing. People just play them. They do spend a little bit on advertising, but not nearly as much as EA has to. They don't have to make a hype machine in order to sell anything. They just have to continue engagement on the level that it's already at, and it just naturally grows. Nokia, you know, the phone company, used to be Finland's #1 moneymaker, but Supercell, on the back of Clash of Clans and Clash Royale, has listed a taxable income of about 10 times as much as Nokia. Speaking about Finland, there isn't a bigger company in Finland. They are easily the biggest company in their entire country. Speaking in terms of metrics, Supercell is absolutely massive, especially for a 210-person company. But to ground what we're saying a little bit, Papa John's Pizza, which on the internet is probably the equivalent of Supercell. It's ubiquitous at this point. People love Papa John's. Some people hate Papa John's, and that's just on the merit that they're Papa John's. Their revenue is about half Supercell's, and their profit is about 1/10 of Supercell's. Supercell's a lot bigger, and lots of people are spending money on Supercell. Everyone from your little clan at work to UFC superstars. The league does kind of a behind-the-scenes show, and on one of the episodes, a couple of their stars were talking about how sometimes they'll spend several $100s just sitting at the pool playing Clash of Clans. I've certainly had a conversation with another person that started with them saying, "Man, I gotta stop spending money on this game." And maybe you have too. It's a really interesting thing to talk about because, well, the Clash games are everywhere. How big is Supercell? Well, they're not a mega corporation like their parent corporation, Tencent, but they are a multinational, highly successful company that brings in more money yearly than Electronic Arts after taking expenses out. That's big. I mean, I've known about Electronic Arts probably the entire time I've played video games. Frankly, the fact a company that started in 2010 and does something that's technically much smaller in scale is able to even compete with Electronic Arts is amazing. Supercell's pretty damn big. What's your favorite Supercell game? Are you a Clash of Clans fan, or are you a Clash Royale fan like me? Or maybe you like Heyday or Boom Beach, I don't know. They're good games. In any case, I'm really interested in your opinion on those games as well as everything in this video. If you like this video, don't forget to click like, and if you're not subscribed, now would be a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every single day of the week, and the best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription. As always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter @FalconTheHero, and we'll see you next time right here on gameranx.